Good morning. This is Talking Animals on WMNF. I'm Duncan Strauss. And before we go any further, I want to thank everyone who donated in Saturday's one-day fund drive, aiming to make up the monies that were rescinded from WMNF. It was a staggering display of support. We really, really thank you. Thank you very, very much. My guest today is Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice, an entomologist by training, who's appeared on the show multiple times over the years, discussing an array of topics, including ants, spiders, homing pigeons, microbes, and pets, often tied to a book she's written on the topic. In recent years, she has specialized in writing for young readers and will primarily discuss her new string of short books in that realm, the Deadliest Series. Illustrated by artist Max Temescu, this series involves mostly critters of one kind or another, including the deadliest snake, the deadliest spider, and the deadliest big cat. Across this series, displaying her customary flair for engaging and educating readers, regardless of age range, Dr. Spicer Rice delivers short bursts of prose animated by conversational crackle. As if you're holding your favorite teacher in your hand, presenting a fascinating lesson on, let's say, big cats, and you walk away knowing which one is the deadliest. And parenthetically, I should add, you also walk away knowing that snow leopards are the only big cats who can't roar, which I did not know. Did you? We'll discuss the new books amidst various other topics when I speak with Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice in just a moment here on Talking Animals on WMNF. Coming up later on today's show, I'll talk with Anita Camacho, president and founder of the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation. In this chat, we'll learn a bit about the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation itself, as well as hear about their events slated for this Saturday, July 26th, their Night Jewels Moth Week Nocturnal Pollinators event, to be more precise. And that evening will include a gardening for moths presentation. So we'll get more details when I speak with Anita Camacho just a bit later in today's show. Right now, though, let's talk the Deadliest series of new books with their author, Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice, with a reminder that I invite you to join the conversation by calling 813-239-9663, emailing dj@wmnf.org, or texting 813-433-0885. Let's welcome Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice back to Talk Animals. Good morning, Dr. Spicer Rice.
Good morning, Duncan. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you back. I mean, you've been on many times, and there's a good reason for that. You're one of our absolute faves.
Talk about weird stuff.
Well, yeah, there's quite a range of stuff when you go from ants to microbes, I guess. Yeah, but
I guess so.
But anyway, with that in mind, congratulations on the new book, new series of books, I should say, which I'm really looking forward to discussing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize beforehand, I guess, that I was so interested in things that are deadly, but turns out I am, in your hands.
I think we all are, like, deep inside, and sometimes not so deep inside.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, though, I'd like to explore how the Deadliest Series appears to represent a further commitment on your part to writing books geared for young readers. I mean, you have a PhD, you're an accomplished science writer, you've written a number of books geared for, let's say, more adult audiences. So what is it that kind of keeps pulling you back into the YA world, if you will?
Well, Duncan, I'll tell you, I give a lot of talks to people and to groups of people, and some of them are grown-ups and some of them are children. And at the end of the talks, I get a wide variety of questions. And I've noticed from the grown-ups, if I'm talking about ants, say, the first questions I always get are, what good do they do, and how can I kill them? Which are really good questions, I guess.
Sure.
But from the children, a lot of times I get questions like, what is their mama like? What do they eat? And I feel like we as humans have had a lot of life experiences that go between the gap of who is its mama and how do I kill it? And I want to help fill in that gap. So that's what I'm hoping to do, is add in more experiences that will help people to wonder more about things than just think about how we can kill them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So using that example of just a given talk that you're giving, so you're saying that in terms of approaching these books, that you're really actually mindful of both sets of audiences, not necessarily the young readers that these most recent set of books you've done over the recent years are ostensibly aimed at.
Right. I feel like the young readers, they're kind of a low-hanging fruit, but because they have so much wonder already in them. So that's why I like to write about. Also, I like to write about weird things, and young people like the weird things, are more ready to receive them, I think. But I think we all can benefit from knowing, what plant kills the most humans, just for fun.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. So, to what extent, it sounds like pondering the talks that you've given that partly solidified your position here, but what role did being the mother of two young kids play in all of this as well?
Well, they totally came up with the idea for the Deadliest because they always ask me if something is going to kill them all the time. I have two little boys, and they're out in the wild all the time. And it seems like they're asking about the safe things more than the unsafe things when we go out. They'll jump over a cottonmouth and not think twice about it, and then they'll see a bug that they've never seen before, and can it hurt me? So I think it's good for them because they always want to know what's going to kill them and exactly how they're going to get killed by it, which is what the Deadliest does. It tells you how you'll die from these things.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're more directly even than I might have imagined kind of the inspiration for at least some of these projects. Yes.
I'm answering a lot of their questions, and I'm answering questions that I'm asking too.
So how did so you're kind of set in that direction by your boys and then kind of by your own curiosity. How does an opportunity to write, how do you go from hey, my boys and I were talking about things that were deadliest and what's going to kill us, and so now I'd like to present an idea for a series of books. How does that actually play out in real life?
Well, I have an agent, and I ask her if she thinks it's a good idea because I'm answering those questions. For the Deadliest, I wrote them because you and I've talked about spiders before and how they're not so dangerous as we think. And so my idea was to just write about the deadliest spider, and I thought that would be comforting for people because they really don't kill people like we think that they do. There's a lot of misinformation about spiders out there. So I pitched the book to be a book about spiders. And then underneath it, I just threw in a bunch of other topics, thinking that they would also be comforting to people, but I didn't really know a lot about them yet. And it turns out that the rest of this stuff can definitely kill you. So there's a lot out there that will kill you. And then the publishers picked it up, and then I learned about these creatures and these plants out there that can kill us after that. But it still can be kind of comforting to find out exactly how things can kill you, because once you know about it, you're not powerless. You're powerless when there's a big empty space and you don't know what's out there and the world is dark and scary. But once you turn the light on, you can see what the monsters are under your bed, or you can see what's living out there, and you can become able to handle these things. And that's not just deadly things, as you know. It can be people you don't understand. It can be people from political parties that you don't get. It's all tied into our fear and our sense of self.
So, yeah, it sounds like in your proposal, the things that you kind of thought of, at least as asides beyond the basic topic for spiders, were as much responded to as the initial spider idea. Right,
that's right. And that's when I found out that, tigers do kill and eat people every year.
So it wasn't necessarily a series from the outset, but it sort of quickly became one in terms of what you had envisioned and proposed, and then what they kind of came back and.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's become 6 books.
And did you suggest all 6 of those things, or did they say, hey, while you're at it, why don't you do this one or that one?
Oh no, I suggested all of them. They were all things that my children are interested in: spiders, insects, flowers, the things that live in the sea, snakes and big cats. So it was all things that my children ask about a lot, that I realized I didn't know too much about.
Yeah. All right, well, let the other folks know we might just tune in a bit late. This is Talking Animals on WMNF. I'm Duncan Strauss. If you did just tune in, my guest is Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice, an author and entomologist who's appeared on the show a number of times over the years, discussing ants, spiders, homing pigeons, microbes, pets, and again, often tied to a book that she's written on the topic. So in recent years, she's kind of specialized, as we're discussing, more in writing for young readers, including her new set of books, the Deadliest Series. So if you'd like to ask Dr. Spicer Rice a question about deadly critters of one kind or another, spiders, big cats, snakes, etc., or YA books generally, or any other topic, well, I think generally she's always game to field almost any kind of question that comes in over here on Talking Animals. So you could just give us a call at 813-239-9663, email dj@wmnf.org, or text 813-433-0885. All right, so I kind of want to return. I have this idea of presenting sort of a case study of how a Dr. Spicer Rice book is created. So within the series, walk me through the broad strokes of how, let's say, the Deadliest Big Cat came together. Like, what's the very first step? I mean, obviously you've gotten the go-ahead from your publisher, but then what's the very first step of starting to create it?
Then I pretend like I'm a 5-year-old, and I write down all of my questions about big cats. Like, what is a big cat? I mean, there are 38 species of cats on the planet, but only 7 of them are big cats. So what makes a big cat, and then I go into the scientific literature. So every single one of these children's books has between 50 and 150 peer-reviewed scientific studies in it, but it's written in language that children can understand. So I go through the scientific literature and I find out, where do they live? What are they eating? Why are they killing people? How many people do they kill a year? And I answer all of those questions. And then I just put it into the format of the book, and I write it like I'm talking to my own children or like I'm talking to myself, because I need to be talked to like that too.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. And for these are graphic novels. So I wrote them out. It was kind of fun. I've never done it before. You write it out in the panels for the illustrator, who at the time, Max, I'd never met him before. I didn't even know how he drew stuff. And that poor guy had to take this information about these animals violently killing people or poisons, making your blood explode in your body. And he had to draw that for children. And I didn't even have to worry about that part. I just wrote it down. And then he had to figure out how to do that. So that's how it works. And Max takes the stuff. I don't even get to see it until he's done drawing it. He draws every page by hand. And then he sends it back to me, and I tell him if the legs are in the right place.
Well, yeah, I would hope there wouldn't be too many mistakes in that way. But,
No.
So, yeah, I was curious, in fact, about when what stage the artist illustrator kind of came into the project. So it sounds like it's fairly early on, like as you create some of your information, or the panels, as you call them, those get fed to him early on, it sounds like.
He gets the whole document that has been fact-checked and copy-edited, and he gets that as a Word file, and he turns that into pictures. Yeah, so it's about halfway through that he gets it. I've written the whole thing. And the publisher put me with him. I'd never seen him before, and that's pretty common for a lot of the picture books that people read today, unless people can draw. Nobody likes my drawings. My drawings look like stick figures. So,
well, that's hard probably to make work on a graphic novel, but I think if you keep at it, maybe one of these next projects, it could be illustrated by you as well.
Maybe you can do it for me, Duncan.
Well, I'm more in the stick figure range around myself, so I'm not sure I'll be much improvement. But but Max, I should say, is fantastic, and I posted the cover of the Deadliest Big Cat book on some social media pages, and people really seem to respond to that. And it's the cover itself, of course, is striking, but so many of his illustrations and other stuff that's throughout the book is just really great and strong and vibrant, and really, along with your terrific text, it really makes those books pop. And in fact,
well, thank you.
I was thinking, like, to what extent, as you're working on this, is there a part of you that thinks, I'm going to guess both your sons are probably readers, but I know over the years, a lot of people that work in this realm sort of feel like, let me try to create something that whatever else, other virtues it has, might appeal to people who aren't yet readers, and maybe it kind of flips a switch in them if they get really interested in this topic or the way I present this information or whatever. Are you sort of figuring that into the calculation to any extent?
I hope so, yes. One of my sons is a big reader. The other one is not. It's very hard to get him to read. And so part of this whole approach to graphic novels, and these aren't graphic novels, they have more words than normal graphic novels, unfortunately. I tried to cut them down. But it was to try to get him interested in picking up a book and having one that he can read in one sitting and learn something from. So, yes, there are a lot of children these days, and when I was little too, that just have a hard time. I think we forget that reading is a cultivated skill, and we have to practice so that we can enjoy it.
Yeah, but as you can see in your own house, sometimes there's a kid that just gravitates to it, like right off the bat, and like can't read enough books fast enough. And a kid growing up in the same house is like just not that interested, or just doesn't. That's not what they would choose to do with their time compared to the other kid.
Yeah, it's true. And I, of course, because I like reading, want everybody to read. So I'm still going to try to hammer in the reading at our house. But I get it that it's really hard for a lot of other people to get their children to read or even to want to read themselves. But I do think that it helps us out in the long run in the world, Do you read? Are you a reader?
I am, and I read a lot of stuff show-related, so sometimes I don't get as much other reading in as I would like, just because there's only so much time to read so many things. And
that's true.
So I got to maybe rearrange my reading balance, my diet, but I certainly enjoy the Deadliest books that I've read.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, what specifically are you kind of really seeking to achieve? Let's say, I don't know. Did you do these books in any particular order, or?
I did them all at once in the span of 3 months.
Wow! So you had all the books kind of going, and just come back to the cats one. Then I came back to the snakes one, but didn't necessarily finish. So it was all multitasking rather than...
Right. Mm-hmm. And each book follows a formula. As you can see, it introduces you to each of the creatures. Then it tells you what's going to happen if the creature or the plant, if you eat the plant, or if you get attacked by a creature on a bad day or something. And then it tells you who's the deadliest. So after I got all that information in, I put it into the formula of the book. So, it took 3 months of just the research took the longest.
Yeah, I'm sure. So once you started writing, it sounded like you worked on that pretty swiftly.
Yes, 14-hour days. You just sit down and concentrate and get it into the format.
Wow. I guess there was
always happen like that.
I guess there was quite a deadline looming for it to require 14 hours days. Yeah.
Well, that's how I got it out anyway.
For sure. So, what kind of more specifically are you seeking to achieve with such a project? What is, when you're finishing those 14-hour days and the books are basically being wrapped up and then putting the final, polish or edits or whatever on them, what does success look like to you either at that stage or maybe it's at a different stage?
For me, success is hearing children tell me that they're going outside more. Or like with the Deadliest Big Cats book, a lot of children have come to me and told me that they look at their food to see if there's palm oil in it, because palm oil is our desire for palm oil and our need to grow trees to make palm oil is one of the things that's taking away our tiger habitat on the planet. So we have lost most of our wild tigers in the world now. And the children will come and say, I didn't know that there was palm oil in my toothpaste. Or that, if a child is paying attention to the natural world more in any way, then I feel like we've done a good job. If they're going outside and touching grass more, if they're thinking about the spiders in their house more, if they're, watching the flowers more, then I think we've done it. We've nailed it for me.
So is that cool? More specific to this particular new series, then? Because other.
That's why I choose every single topic that I choose for children or adults.
Yeah.
I just want us to all go outside and wonder and pay attention, because I know that being with the natural world decreases our heart rate, it decreases our cortisol levels, it increases our longevity, not from hiking, but just sitting outside staring at trees,
Yeah.
It is better. It does the work scientifically. I'm not making these things up, that a lot of the drugs that we take to feel normal do. And, y'all are in Florida. You are part of a global biodiversity hotspot down there. You have more life there than in almost any place on the planet. You have, you're on par with Madagascar and the Horn of Africa and the Andes Mountains for the amount of life that you have that only lives there. And you have this incredible wealth that belongs to everybody, no matter how much money they have. And to me, it's thrilling to think that any one of us, especially where you are, can just walk outside and receive that because it belongs to you. And I want us to do that. Maybe we'll take care of it a little bit better. Maybe we'll want to. What do you think?
No, I think that's really interesting that's kind of the underlying objective for at least these projects. Then I'm wondering, some of the earlier things that you've done, the book on pets, Secret Life of Pets, and then microbes. How does that figure into this formula? Because
with microbes, it's part of our world that we can't see, but we can find evidence of if we learn how to look at it. So I see the pets and the microbes, and there's a third one in that series that's about animal communication that's coming out next year. Those are just guidebooks to help us experience the world with interesting things that are hidden to us unless we know how to find it. Like with the pets book, if you'll remember how the dogs will go outside and they'll circle and circle and circle around until they stop to go to the bathroom, and they're lining their bodies up with the north-south axis. That's when they stop, of Earth's electromagnetic field. And that's just a little tidbit. But when you go outside and watch your dog go to the bathroom, you can learn about Earth's electromagnetic field just by watching to see where he or she stops to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, there's a whole other scientific, intellectual aspect to it suddenly.
Yes, and it's just cool.
It is just cool.
It's just neat. Yeah.
Well, that seems to be another basic propeller for you. Is it cool? Is it fascinating?
Yeah.
I mean, it might ideally. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, because so much of the world is cool and fascinating.
Yeah. Well, that's part of I think what infuses these books with such energy and spirit and buoyancy is that is your view, and that's presented in these books. And I think if you had any less of a sense of wonder and excitement about things, I just don't know if these books would work to that degree.
Well, thank you, Duncan. That makes me feel good that it's coming out across that way. I hope that the children agree.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they do. And, again, you got your own sort of test audience right there in the house.
I do. I get a thumbs up and a thumbs down every time.
From the reader, non-reader contingent, you mean?
Yeah, from the reader, non-reader, yeah.
Well, I got to believe, given what we've talked about, that even the non-reader must find some of these things, maybe not as much as the reader side, but fun and fascinating about reading about tigers or snakes or any number of other things in this series, and must inspire him to sort of put that book in his hand and read it through.
I hope so. He does love the natural world. He can go out and find any animal that you ask him to at any time. They're both very good about the wild things. Yeah.
I'm still haunted by the scene that you described earlier about, hopping over a water moccasin or whatever to get to a bug. And I just thought, Okay, well, let's be mindful of the water moccasin just in case.
Yeah, they need to be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping that they'll start paying attention to this stuff more.
Right. Some of the things are the deadliest, for sure.
Yeah.
So...
Or they just hurt a lot.
Yeah, well, at the very least, that. So, how do you write differently for young readers? This may tie back into the conversation about giving talks, but, I mean, I got to assume there's at least some differences in how you approach books that are primarily at least targeted at young readers than you do things that we talked about early on about ants and spiders and some of the stuff that were, at least in theory, more aimed at kind of an adult readership.
Yeah, so that's a great question. For young readers, you just get fewer words. For me, the information is the same. I do not water it down for young readers because we're all capable of grasping even the most complicated things. You can grasp it if somebody tells you what it means. But for adults, I get to be a little bit more flowery, but young readers don't care about any of that mess. They just want the information. So that's the main difference, is that I just get more words. The information is the same. And I've found that they can handle it. You can give them very complicated information in a way that they understand it, and they get it, and they often move on to another, like, even more complicated topic in their mind because of it, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's probably a bit too glib or simplistic for me to assume that the approaches would be notably different given, familiarity with the works that you've written. And I think even some years ago we talked about, I forget what book or books that we were focused on in that conversation, but I think I even mentioned that the way certain films and certain sort of classic animation like Looney Tunes or whatever function on both levels so that kids and adults have almost an equal appreciation for them. And that's what I found, I think, in your writing, and obviously that's clearly still very much part of your writing. So I could see how you're saying, I'm really not approaching it that differently, I just have fewer words. I mean, I think that might oversimplify your actual technique, but I think it takes a real flair to write for young readers in such a way that, a nearby adult could pick up the book and be fascinated or have fun or have a good laugh or learn something like the way I learned about the snow leopards.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I think it makes a difference. I think that's why you're probably keep being asked to write in this realm, because there is something to it to really find that kind of balance and challenge young readers, but not leave them puzzled, but enchanted by what they're reading. So, I mean, that's a fine balance.
This particular series isn't really brain surgery. It's just what will kill you,
Yeah.
It just tells you what's out there that might.
But there's something about the way that's presented. At least, there's kind of like, well, here's your main suspects. Here's some information about them, and it's kind of like this cool contest. So again, there's like a rooting interest, even if you're not much of a reader. Probably you'd be like, well, geez, I got to see how this comes out.
Well, I was surprised by the deadliest in a lot of them. Like some of them, the ones that were capable of being the most deadly were not the ones, actually most of the book, the creatures or plants that were capable of killing the most didn't really kill anybody. But then the ones that were the ones that were a lot less deadly on the surface ended up being the most deadly plant or animal,
Yeah.
Like you have wolfsbane, which is it's just, if you eat wolfsbane, you're going to hallucinate and then have a horrible, horrible death. It's a plant.
Yeah.
And it's very, very toxic. 2 to 3 milligrams can kill somebody. Then you have tobacco, which is 60 milligrams can kill somebody. That's the fatal dose of tobacco. But wolfsbane kills pretty much nobody, and tobacco kills 8 million people a year because we smoke it. or two.
Yeah.
And it was that way with a lot of the books. The most, venomous snakes, with the most highly toxic venom, barely killed anybody. Same thing with the spiders. It's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, well, there are some surprises in there, because when you lay out the information, then people have to allow for this. If this animal or this snake, let's say, bit more people, the deadliest quotient would go up, but just doesn't happen to, attack that many. Yeah.
Do you know what the deadliest sea creature is? That book isn't coming out until the end of the year, but I was very surprised.
Well, I don't know if we should do a spoiler alert, but I'd be very curious, just because there's been some surprises along the way.
Take a guess, any guess of anything living in the sea. What kills the most people every year?
Well, first of all, I'm sure it's not sharks, because that would be too obvious.
Definitely not sharks. Those poor guys. Not a sea snake.
It's not a sea snake, right? Because we've already covered that in the snake book.
We did.
Yeah. Trying to think. I'm on the spot, and I'm feeling like dumber and dumber by the moment.
But you on the spot. Let me tell you, because I'm excited. It's a pufferfish.
Oh. I was picturing something like kind of blown up or with spikes or whatever, but I couldn't think of this pufferfish.
Spikes don't do anything to us. We deliberately eat them, and they poison us and kill us every year.
We're not very smart sometimes, I think is what you're saying.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most toxic. There's the cone snail is the most toxic. That thing can kill like something crazy, like 600 people or something if it could. But the pufferfish is the one that kills the most people every year. And it's our fault, as usual,
Wow. Yeah.
There we go.
No, that's the thing. But that's also part of the fun of this, I think, whether you're a kid or an adult, is as you lay out the sort of, at least broad format of the books, is like, here are the candidates. Here's some information about each candidate. Now, what do you think? And then you get to where you make your conclusion, or you hedge your bet, whatever. And some of the time you're wrong, even though you might have good logic for why you arrived at the wrong answer. Like the snakes is a good example of that, I think.
Oh, yeah. Because the snakes, are we spoiling things? Now, you have a lot of the deadliest snakes living down there in Florida, too. But, yeah, the snakes, one of the less venomous snakes, but the actual deadliest snakes kill 60,000 people in India every year because people step on them. But we don't know who's killing who, because by the time they come to the hospital, they can't tell who they stepped on most of the time. They just know it's one of 4 snakes in India.
Right, so they can't blame or credit, as case may be, a specific snake, because it's like they all look like the same result when they get to the hospital, I guess. Yeah,
but they're not the most venomous of all the snakes. The inland taipan can kill up to 100 people with one bite, Wow. But it doesn't, because nobody ever encounters them, and they're not very aggressive.
Thank God.
Thank God.
For sure. This is Talking Animals on WNF. I'm Duncan Strauss. My guest is Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice, an entomologist and author who's written books about a wide array of topics, including her new set of books for young readers, The Deadliest Series. Invited to join the conversation by calling 813-239-9663, emailing dj@wmf.org, or texting 813-433-0885. So I was going to ask you what book is next, if you already figured that out, because I figured you probably did, but I guess that's already written and ready to come out, Animal Communication?
Yeah, it's a third book in the series that's called Your Hidden Life through Candlewick. The first one was about the microbes. The second one was about your pets. And the third one is about conversations that are happening all around us, that if we learn how to pay attention to them, we can understand what they're saying. It's kind of fun.
So give us a little sneak preview or an example of how that communication works. Okay.
Well, there's a whole chapter in there that tells you exactly what squirrels are saying with their tails and their chatters, so that you can understand how complicated squirrels' languages actually are. They communicate a lot with their tails and with their voices. So they can tell you if a predator is coming from above or below. They can tell you how large that predator is. They can tell you if there is another squirrel nearby. If you listen to the squirrel, you can tell a lot about what's happening around you. Like you can look up and see if you can see hawks, or you can look down and see if you see a cat. And then the same thing with chickadees. Chickadees are so smart. They're one of the, yes, y'all have chickadees. They're one of the smartest birds, most intelligent birds that we have in our yard that are common to hear. And they're so smart, and their chicks and their dees can tell so much information that other birds follow chickadees around, other bird species, to listen to what they're saying so that they can understand what's going on around them. So the loudness or the intensity or how many DDDs come after there can tell you how immediate a threat is, how large the threat is, and where the threat is, just when they're going chickadee-dee-dee. So it's pretty cool for those things. But then there's other stuff, too, like how plants communicate with each other through chemicals or through sounds even. We've discovered that plants make sounds. I didn't know. Everybody thought turtles were silent until the last few years. And it turns out that turtles communicate just outside of our auditory range. They communicate in infrasound, like elephants and...
there's a vibration that wouldn't be...
Yeah, very low. They have very deep voices.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of things that they're saying to each other in these ponds. And they're calling for each other. They're calling for their babies. So it's really cool because all these things, there are a lot of things in this world that we thought were silent or didn't have any communication, but we've started noticing them and paying attention and asking questions, and we realize that there's sounds that we can't hear in this world. There are sights that we can't see. Flowers have secret UV colors to attract bees that we can't see. They have totally different patterns if you look at them under UV lights. And it's just there's so much more to every single thing in this world that we're looking for. And a lot of it we don't know. We're at a place right now where we can discover major things if we ask questions, just like with the turtles.
Yeah. And like with the turtles, for example, can any other critter, I mean, we can't hear those sounds, those vibrations, but can any other animal, or is it strictly just turtle to turtle, and it's just geared for their...
Lots of other animals can hear them, yes.
Hear the turtle communications?
Mm-hmm. They just have a different auditory range than we do.
Yeah.
And they just like bats. You know, I have a bat transducer that takes the ultrasound into the infrasound so I can hear bats talking to each other at night, which if you want to frighten your neighbors, you should definitely get one of those and sit in your front yard. But you can hear the bats talking to each other, but they talk in ultrasound. And if we could hear them, it would be like a Mack truck screaming by our house all night long. So be glad that we can't hear a lot of these things.
Wow.
A lot of insects speak in ultrasound. Mice and rats. Mice sing to each other at night. They sing love songs to each other.
Serenading mice? That's great.
They do. And it's loud. It's really, really loud.
So how are you accessing that? With another kind of device of some kind, or?
You can hear it you could hear it with I don't have mice in my house singing to each other, I don't think.
Okay.
But you can hear it with a transducer. You can take the ultrasound into the sonic range and hear it. Or you can get a detector, something that detects ultrasound, to hear it. I raised white-footed mice one time when I had my bat detector, which does the ultrasound, and they were orphaned mice, and I would come in to feed them, and I would have my bat detector on, and if it was me coming in, they would chitter and sing. And if it was a stranger coming in, they would get dead silent. So they could recognize us, and they were singing to me as their mother. It's cool. This whole world is out there doing stuff.
Yeah, well, we've come a long way from the days of monitoring the police scanner, I think. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of action in this, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm so sorry you don't seem to enjoy what you do.
know, it's tough.
Yeah, I know. If there was just some enthusiasm for it, that would probably make a big difference. But so we're in our final couple of minutes here, Dr. Spicer Rice. But let me ask a couple of quick questions if I can. So after animal communication, which is already done and set in place, is there another book or series of books on the horizon, or is it too soon to talk about those things?
Oh, we've got tons. So we've got 2 more of these Deadliest books coming out.
Oh.
Currently, I'm currently working on a book about the things that all faiths and many animals share. Many of us share a lot of different tenets, things that we all say is what we should be doing right now. And so I'm taking a really deep look into those things, to those tenets.
That sounds really interesting.
I hope it is. I think it is.
And is that for young readers primarily as well?
This one is for adults.
Okay. I was going to ask about that because I figured at some point you'd probably circle back to something more primarily aimed at adults, even though we've already established that all the books are kind of for both audiences, but some are at least aimed in a certain direction. So I figured you might be swinging back to an adult primary book.
This one I just need more words for.
That's right. That's how you distinguish them. So,
yeah.
Well, one question, just to kind of maybe wrap up. You know, it's often said that everyone has a book in them, and now you've obviously written several books, but I'm wondering about a variation of that adage. Is there a particular book you've long thought about writing, like a passion project, maybe even, let's say, I'm just throwing this out, a novel when you've otherwise, of course, worked in the nonfiction world, an idea where you've said to yourself, one day I'm going to write blank, blank, blank?
Yes. And it's not a novel because I love to read novels, but nobody would want to read any novel that I've ever tried to write. But it is this book about faith. I've been working on it for 10 years. I've interviewed faith leaders across the globe, people in the Vatican, people like wonderful imams, you know, all kinds of people to find out what they think about these things. And I've interviewed scientists. I've interviewed E.O. Wilson for it. I've interviewed atheists. And the ideas behind it are so exciting to me and so beautiful to me. And this is the thing that I've really wanted to write for a long time, and I love that I finally get to write it.
So you're working on it now?
I don't know. Yes, I'm working on it right now.
Great.
Well, not right now because we're talking.
Yeah.
But after we get off the phone.
Thank you for not multitasking to that degree. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, all right. Well, this sounds like a really exciting project. I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, the animal communication one and anything else that might pop up along the way. So we've been speaking with Dr. Eleanor Spicer Rice. Her new series of books is The Deadliest. So it's The Deadliest Big Cat, Deadliest Snake, Deadliest Spider, Deadliest Insect, Deadliest Sea Creature, Deadliest Flower. You can get that wherever you get your books. And Dr. Spicer Rice, great chatting with you as always, and look forward to the next book whenever it's available.
Thank you, Duncan. I love your show, Talking Animals, so much, and I'm so grateful to you for having me on today.
Oh, well, that's so nice. Thank you so much. Definitely, a feeling is mutual. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks again. In a moment, I'll speak with Anita Camacho, president and founder of the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation. She'll fill us in on the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation itself and give us something of a preview of an event they're organized for this Saturday, July 26th, which will include a Gardening for Moss presentation. We'll hear more about this in just a moment on Talking Animals. Right now, though, we're going to step into the comedy corner. One of our longtime faves, Joe Zimmerman, and a nod to Dr. Spicer Rice. This is part 2 of his piece, Pet Snakes, in today's Comedy Corner on Talking Animals on WMNF.
Apparently, snakes have taken over the Everglades, giant exotic anacondas and Burmese pythons. They don't belong there. Apparently, people bought baby snakes. They didn't realize they grow to be up to 25 feet long. So at some point in that growth, they were like, hey, Mrs. Slithersby got scary. She just took a horse-sized dump. And our horse is missing. Have you seen Pony Danza? Maybe we should put her outside. She'd be happy in the Everglades, nice swamp, lots of old people. She'll do well. I know you guys think I don't have any more snake material. But my friend had a snake. And it constricted on his arm. This story doesn't end well. He had to cut off its head with a knife. He has permanent nerve damage in his arm. And he goes, I don't get it, 10 years, no problems. And then this happened, and I wanted to be like, well, I get it. It's not like it was sitting behind that glass loving you. It was just staring at you with eyelids that don't blink, hating you. And every day it was growing, waiting for the day when you could fit in its stomach. And after 10 years of that, he was like, screw it, I'm not big enough, but I'm tired of living in this fish tank. I don't care if he has a knife, let's do this, YOLO. I know, you only live once. Hashtag YOLO, the snake said it.
That was Joe Zimmerman in today's Comedy Corner with part 2 of his piece, Pet Snakes, taken from his album Smiling at Wolves. Now it's time to talk with Anita Camacho, president and founder of the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation. We'll learn about the foundation and an event they've organized for this Saturday, July 26th. Let's hear more by welcoming Anita Camacho to Talking Animals on WMNF. Good morning, Anita.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us on Talking Animals.
Well, thanks for having me.
So first, maybe just give us a brief overview of the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation. It's a bit of its history, mission, and so on.
Yeah, so Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation started about 7 years ago, and we're really focusing on butterflies, of course, as pollinators, but really that's our gateway butterfly or our gateway bug, so to speak. And that really leads people, if they start gardening for butterflies, they hopefully stop using pesticides, which kill the caterpillars and kill the bugs, to hopefully leading to a better relationship with nature in general and helping our ecosystem, which ultimately helps public health. So that's kind of our focus. There's a lot of conservation, education, and research as it pertains to pollinators and butterflies.
Well, that sounds really great, and especially if, anything to discourage. Lately on social media, I've been seeing a few different things pop up about like a pesticide that you can get at your house to be sprayed down all over the thing, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, really? But I mean, everybody's touting something, I guess, but it just made me think of that when you were describing about what part of the mission of the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation is. So do you find that butterflies are largely underappreciated?
I don't know that they're underappreciated. I think the part of the metamorphosis that's probably more maybe disliked, so to speak, is the caterpillar phase, because caterpillars eat a lot of plant material and people don't really want their plants being eaten, even though that's what the plants evolved for, is to be eaten by bugs and caterpillars and such. They weren't necessarily created so we would have a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing lawn according to whatever we feel is aesthetically pleasing. So before humans were here, the plants and bugs evolved together to kind of work together and be food, or, and then the plants, of course, they're throwing out flowers to attract the pollinators so they get pollinated and continue to produce. So it really was a win-win. And then humans decided we needed to manipulate and control the landscape. So that's really what's made things a lot more difficult.
That's where things went off the rails a little bit, it sounds like.
A little bit.
Yeah. So what about, how do moths figure into all this?
Well, moths are actually, they were the lead Lepidoptera species, which Lepidoptera is a species of moths and butterflies. They came before butterflies. Butterflies actually evolved from moth species. And in the world, there's about 160,000 moth species, whereas there's about 17,500 butterfly species. So there's many, many, many more moths. And they are actually better pollinators. Even though most of them are nocturnal, they're doing a lot of pollinating at night. They have a lot more fur on their body to move the pollen around than butterflies do, and they tend to stick around and rest on plants more than butterflies do. So they're actually better pollinators, but still butterflies are pollinators. They're daytime flyers and more obvious to us since we're mostly out during the day.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like moths need maybe some better publicity.
Yeah, probably need to have the lights turned off, things like that, to help them navigate because they use the moon for navigation, and it's a very dim light compared to our street lights and our house lights, which really causes a lot of confusion and a lot of increased death with moth species and other bugs that do nighttime pollinating.
Wow. So tell me what will go on at this Saturday's event.
So we'll have a presentation to kick it off at 7 o'clock, talking about our moth species here locally in the Tampa Bay area, and a little bit of moths in general, and their importance, things like that. And then after that, we'll have a little bit of black lighting and see if we can attract some moths to the butterfly garden here at Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation and Little Red Wagon Native Nursery. So we'll be kind of a nighttime event. We have our nature center will be open. We have native species as well as exotic species of both bugs and reptiles. So those exhibits will be open for the people that come for the event, and they'll get to learn a lot about our night jewels, so to speak.
So it sounds like does black light, is that kind of pivotal to attracting the moths, etc.? Yeah,
if you've got a very dark area and you've got the black light on, it typically will attract them to kind of come out so you can get to see them better. That's
great. And I guess I didn't realize there was other species, bugs and snakes or reptiles, I guess, that it's part of this evening.
Yes. Yep. We have a whole nature center, so everything will be open, and we have quite a few moths that we have in our exhibit cabinets, as well as a couple of species of moth caterpillars eating our host plants so people can see the caterpillars up close, things like that.
That's great. Well, this sounds very cool. How many folks do you expect may turn up at the Saturday's event?
Hard to say. We're a small venue, so we've kind of got it limited to, 40 tickets, so we'll see how many come. It's a small space, so that's about the maximum we'll probably have.
And if someone was listening and said, hey, this sounds very cool, right up my alley, well, how would they go about getting a ticket or getting the details of the event? I guess the basic details, it's Saturday, July 26th. It's 7 to 9 p.m., I think.
Right.
4,000.
Well, depending on where, 7 to 9 is our anticipated time frame, but it doesn't really get dark till 8:30, so we may go a little bit past 9, probably 10 o'clock at night.
I see.
But if they're interested in it, they can go to butterflytampa.com, and there's information there, and they can sign up for it there.
Great. Well, this sounds very cool, and sounds like there's a whole other world for people to explore if they're not already exploring it. So.
Well, bugs are keeping us alive, and it's pretty important for our food security since they pollinate 90% of our flowering plants. It's kind of critical that we take good care of them if we want to continue our survival.
No, that sounds great, and it sounds like the Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation is doing a lot to sort of help educate folks on that very information. So that's fantastic. All right, Anita. Well, this has been Anita Camacho, president and founder of Tampa Bay Butterfly Foundation. Again, the event is July 26th. You can find out more at butterflytampa.com. And thanks again for joining us today on Talking Animals.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right, coming up on WNF, it's The Conversation, the great show hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. After that, it's The Scoop, WNF's brief news recap. Then we shift back into music programming with Sam Vall, holding forth from 1 to 3, followed by Bev Capshaw, sitting in today for Nancy C., hosting the Traffic Jam from 3 to 6. Then it's John DeBrule with Sound Safari, followed by Step Outside Guys from 8 to 10. And the great programming just continues right here on WNF 88.5. Next week on Talking Animals, I will be away. But our plan is to rebroadcast the July 2nd edition of the show featuring my conversation with Adam Segalski, extensively discussing the proposed bear hunt. So the FWC meets and takes a final vote on August 13th and 14th, so the timing of re-airing the show is ideal for people to still weigh in on the bear hunt issue. And also, coming after that, the next week, I'll be back with August 6th with Glenn Hatchell for another edition of Ask the Trainer. It's all coming up here on Talking Animals on WNF Tampa. Stay tuned for NPR News headlines and the conversation from there. Thanks so much for listening.